Hey everybody, G-Bear out homesteading the desert, and you're looking at the weather report for today, July 3rd at 6:45 p.m. Forget about the rain clouds. It's not going to rain. We'll step outside here in a minute and I'll show you. But we do have a 14-mile-an-hour wind with gusts up to 23, and it just now dropped to 89. It was 90 just as I fired this video up. But that's fine. I do have my wind protected microphone on, so I want to step outside here and show you. Skies are clear. Sun is going down over the horizon. Well, over the container anyway. All right, what have I been doing? Well, I've been a little bit on the busy side. The girls already got their treats and their water refilled, and there's probably 4 or 5 eggs, like I forget the count, in the nesting boxes right now. I'll leave those until the morning, and I'll pick them up in the morning with whatever else shows up tonight. All right, as we're heading up here, you see I've been cutting some plywood. Well, I've been working on cleaning out and organizing my containers, and look at this. What a hole I made there, huh? Yeah, I sure did. Well, those plywood are going to sit on a 2x4 base with 4x4s that go across here, run all the way from that bench all the way down to just about where the pipes are there, or where the broom is, and with a little space on the end there for a wastebasket. And then I'm going to bring in my milling machine, possibly tomorrow. The weather report says that we got a heat wave coming, and they're talking about really getting up there. Well, it's been over 100 here, 102, 103, 106 every day for the last week and a half, almost 2 weeks. So I don't know what they're talking about, a heat wave. What, 112? A few degrees is going to make a difference. Anyway, I got my board up on the wall there. That's all the bits and stuff I use on the milling machine and metal lathe that's going to be sitting on there. This little rack here, I usually keep some cutting tools and some those 2 little caps there, 4-inch caps. I use to hold small parts. And I keep some aluminum on there for when I have to mill up something very quickly. And there's some junk up there on the shelves. I'll clean that all off. But I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the saw. I was going to leave it right in here and be able to pull it out when I use it. But I need a good distance run there. So I might end up putting that at the end down there and being able to pull it out into the middle so that I can put long pieces of metal on there and cut them when I need to. We'll see what goes there. These 2x4s, I went down to the little local hardware store. He said, yeah, we got 2x4s. They're a little more expensive than what you get in town, but it saves you the trip. I said, well, I need 4. And then I hated to say I don't want them, because poor guy's trying to make a living and he doesn't get a lot of business there. So I just took them anyway. But those 2x4s were over $8 each. They're $3.50 at Home Depot. So I did get ringed on those. But hey, I helped a little mom and pop store along today. I was the only customer in there when I got there. So one other guy did come in while I was loading these. And I didn't want to make a fuss in front of him and ruin business. Anyway, I found I had 2 10-foot lengths of gutter up there. And I will be using those to get gutter on the hen house later on this year. I don't have to rush on that because not looking at any rain coming for a while. All right, you can see that things are cleaned out a little bit here. I moved all the paint over into one pile here, and that'll all get moved out once I get things settled in a little bit more. But I've got to get my tools situated so I know where everything is. These shelves here are working out great because I sorted out the tools that I don't use all the time, but I can just pull them out when I need to and get set up real quickly. And you see I have a lot of egg cartons I've been saving last couple of years. And those are what I put eggs in to bring them to my friends and family or whatever down the hill. And no, I don't have any family living in the area per se, not blood relatives, but I do have people I call sisters and brothers and moms and dads and so forth. They've been with me for a long time. All right, let's move on a little bit here. Go into the next stage. You see I got a bunch of stuff I took out here and just stacked it for now. And here, I cleaned out this area, added a shelf up there, and fixed that metal shelf. That one kept falling down, so I put special metal brackets on it. I had plastic brackets that came with that shelving, and when the side of that container got hot from the sun, they would melt, and then the shelf would drop, so I fixed it. And I've got my pans up there. It is my pressure cooker for doing my canned goods. And then I've got the stainless steel one that's just a regular boiler for canned goods. And then I've got one of those ceramic pots there that I do canning in. And there's all my canning jars down here. I'll be getting to that when I finally get some things growing on my trees. And there's my milling machine, combination metal lathe. I'm going to try to get that out of here tomorrow. I think I've got a big enough hole to get it out of here. And that big old antique Craftsman drill press, I want to get that out over there. And then I want to get the propane, oxyacetylene, tanks out of here and get those into the other one, because this is going to be household goods and my little locksmith area where I work on locks, things like that down in the back. So I want this to be very clean and accessible. All right, now that you've seen that, you see I got all my pots up there, and then I got to the back and I found out I had one more ceramic pot. That's the next size up from that one. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put another shelf up high, and I'll put all my beer carboys. That's where I make my beer in. And there's bottles and stuff in there that I want to get up on a higher shelf, because that's once a year when the temperatures cool down. If I did that now, those things would explode. All right. I think that's about covers it. Let's head down to the garden house and see how the plants are doing. With the heat wave, I plan on staying up here, not going anywhere, and keeping an eye on the plants and the chickens and that stuff. And the grass is doing great inside the hen house or the hen coop. They like laying down on it. But right now the sun's on it, so they moved down to the other end of the coop where it's shady. And they really want to come out now. I had a couple of them step outside while I was going in to feed them this afternoon. And they just hung close by, so it's getting to that point where I'll probably let them out and then bring them in at the end of the day. And I know they love those treats, so they'll come in for the treats. All right. Wind blowing. Here we are. Yeah, it looks like everything is happy here. What I do have to do, and I'll show you that, I've got this little meter here that will check pH, but it also checks moisture. And it's hard to see through the screen right now, but the needle is on this side. If it goes all the way to that side, that means the ground is soaked. Right in the center is ideal. And if I stick this down in here, that needle is all the way over. So there's plenty of water down low for the trees with the deeper roots. But these little plants up here, they're growing on the top of the soil up higher. So I need to give those a little bit of water each day. Also, over here, I'm going to use this to point at them. Look at my cilantro just sprouted up here. So I got a couple of cilantro plants coming up here. That's a good thing. Potatoes are doing just great. Sweet potatoes are doing excellent. My trees are doing well. Looks like the tomatoes like the transplant. That bigger tomato is starting to yellow a little bit, so I think that one's going to go into the ripening stage. Look at the green on there. I brought those down so they don't sit in the sun all day, but they do get some sunlight. My carrots are really coming up well. And I'm going to give everything here some water here in a second, right after I finish this video. But I just wanted to get in here real quick and show you. My peppers are coming up real well. And I do have some sprouts and some fresh growth. Look at the fresh growth on this branch. So I might get another tree out of that one. That'd be a nice thing. The corn ain't gonna make it. Way too hot for the corn. And even if these 3 or 4 here do come all the way up and produce corn, I'm not going to get good quality out of it, because normally you want to do at least 12 stalks of corn to make sure you get good cross germination. Otherwise, you're not going to get. Well, let me explain. On the top of the corn, the little tassels on the top, they have little seeds on there. And those seeds have to drop onto the silk on the ears of the corn to germinate the corn. And each one of those pieces of silk that sticks out of the top of a corn goes to one of the kernels on the cob. So unless they all get some of the treatment from the little seeds that drop down, then you're not going to get all of the kernels on there. And that's why sometimes you get near a corn and there's a bunch of rows of kernels that are missing off of there. The captains are never missing, but the kernels sometimes are. Anyway, dry humor. Anyway, all the trees look happy and healthy, and they're getting a lot more growth on them here. I'm going to make sure everything gets watered. Even all the way at the top, they're kicking out. But again, I stick this down here, and it's all the way over to the right, so there's plenty of water in these. Let me see if I can get closer so you can see it. Yeah, see the needles all the way over. There's plenty of water in those buckets, so the trees don't really need any water, but anything I have planted up high does. So I'm going to take care of that and then get back to whatever I was doing. Going to make myself some dinner tonight. Got to replace my flag for the 4th of July. I've got a brand new one waiting to go up on the pole there. Turbine spinning, making some electricity for me. Even with all the work I was doing inside with power tools and fans running and everything else, never dropped below 13.6, I think it was, for the day. So I got plenty of electricity, and hope that bill doesn't come in too high this month. I'll have to pay myself. G-Bear signing off from an exciting episode of Homesteading the Desert.